Hello, I'm Michelle Makori, and this is Kitco News. Tesla CEO Elon Musk and Microstrategy CEO Michael Saylor have announced the formation of the Bitcoin Mining Council. Now, according to Saylor, the group's goals are to promote energy usage transparency and accelerate sustainability initiatives worldwide. This all happened this weekend when Saylor hosted a meeting between Musk and some Bitcoin miners, and my next guest was at that meeting. Frank Holmes is the executive chairman of Hive Blockchain Technologies, as well as the CEO and CIO of US Global Investors. Frank, thank you for joining us.
Wonderful to be here.
All right, Frank, we want to know, what can you tell us about what happened at that meeting?
Well, I think it was trying to come up with a plan. There was a couple of mining companies that had a coal footprint, and it was very disruptive, and it was an easy target to go after. Fortunately, Hive Blockchain it was the first crypto mining company to go public, and it has always had a green strategy, only hydro and geothermal, and an ESG strategy. So we were pulled together with some other Canadian mining companies like Hut 8 and Riot was there. So it was a very productive meeting, and I think the big push is to have more transparency and accountability on where this carbon is coming from, that's alleged for mining. But what's really important, I think, for investors is that there is a tectonic plate shift. We are seeing gold over the past 20 years go from North America to China, net importers. And we're seeing the crypto economy, the Bitcoin economy, Ethereum, and the mining taking place and growing here in America. And there's new standards of accounting, new pools being formed here, not Chinese pools, North American pools. So I think it's very bullish for the industry to have this transparency of what their costs are, that there's no carbon footprint. I'm thrilled about it, being involved with it. Elon was very balanced, very direct about some of the issues that he has to wrestle with in this sort of world of green conscientiousness.
Right. And look, Kevin O'Leary, who we recently interviewed on Kitco, was making that point that you have corporations, financiers, large institutions who might be interested in Bitcoin, but they're held back because they face real reputational pressure from shareholders, the media, other public watchdogs to be environmentally responsible, if you will. So there seems to be a need for this, at least from an institutional investor perspective, and getting them involved. Do you see this Bitcoin Mining Council as a way to now really attract that kind of money?
Well, first of all, most of the carbon footprint for mining Bitcoin is China, and it's Inner Mongolia. And I was told over the weekend from our employee that's over in mainland China that we have, that it's shut down in Mongolia, and the government is doing a big crackdown. So I think that from that end, we're going to see China's footprint in global printing. They're basically going to have to stop crypto mining. They're going to be able to export equipment, but they're not going to be able to mine. And all of a sudden, over the weekend, other friends of mine said they got calls for 2 gigawatts of energy, 100,000 S19s that would normally be sold in China. They're now fast tracking to be exported over to North America and to Europe. So I think that is very bullish. As I said, there's a big shift coming here, and we are much more green conscientious.
All right, but the vast majority of the world's Bitcoin mining is still done in China. I appreciate that you say there's a shift, but China's top of the list. I don't think they're going to cooperate with any green initiatives. Iran actually accounts for about 4.5% of the world's Bitcoin mining. So what does it mean for the Bitcoins that are mined by miners that are not part of this so-called new Bitcoin Mining Council?
Well, first of all, no one can control Iran. So they try to say that they're the thorn for the world, but they always will be for every issue. But I think there's really mismanagement by the green movement on how much energy we consume. If you look at these new S19s, they're 500% more efficient. The new Ethereum chips we're buying are 300% more efficient. So I really disagree with that sort of narrative that we're consuming more than all these countries. I know that we've hedged our energy for 1.7 cents in northern Sweden. I know what it cost me in Quebec and also now in New Brunswick. Nothing to these numbers. And so I think they're greatly exaggerated. But what's real about it is that there were some big operators in America using coal. And I think that that's going to be the big shutdown.
So when we say green energy and accountability, what does that mean? I mean, what does it mean to mine Bitcoin and in an environmentally friendly way?
Well, for Hive Blockchain, it means hydro, geothermal, and if it's otherwise, it's wind, and it can be solar. And I see talking to other friends in Montana that they're building a mega 1 gigabyte of energy with solar panels, which is very good for silver. So I think you're in the transformation and you're in that transition, which is so exciting because Bitcoin is coming to North America in so many different ways that are so much beneficial. And I think we're going to get more. This group is going from 20 to going to be 40%, I believe, of Bitcoin mining.
All right, well, Frank, there is a bigger issue here, and that is concern in the crypto community that this council is, in fact, antithetical to the decentralized nature of Bitcoin, that having any kind of body overseeing Bitcoin is contrary to the ethos of Bitcoin. What do you say to that?
It's a sort of mismanagement of the narrative. Again, saying that we consume 2% of the world's electricity. I think it's 7 basis points. So that's one set. Now we're going to jump to this other one. It is decentralized. All it is an organization to basically make transparency. That's really important on the cost of energy, not who's mining whatever. What I like about as a miner, I don't have an anti-money laundering problem. I mine the coins, I can control the coins, I can hodl them, or I sell them to pay the electrical bill. So I think that that's really a misunderstanding. This is just about good, clean, the blockchain technology. It's transparent. Now we're going to get transparent about where's your source of energy and how much is it costing you.
Well, Frank, some suggest that this green energy angle, that narrative is being pushed because it's really a way for the establishment to exert control and influence over the Bitcoin market. What do you say to that?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just some paranoia stuff. I think it's simple for us. It's just about being green conscientious and being sincere about it. And for us, it's a complete ESG footprint. We're using software in northern Sweden that we can go from 20 megawatts down to 1 megawatt in 15 seconds and go right back up during peak electricity periods so that there's no hindrance on the local community in the morning or in the evening. We're working with these communities. So I think there's just so many important parts of stranded electricity around the world is all of a sudden creating jobs. We're not usurping electricity for dynamic cities and economies and driving up their bills. Not at all, not even close. And our software is so much more cheaper than building another hydro plant.
Right. Well, you, of course, are referencing how Hive Blockchain has been ESG compliant, friendly throughout its operations. But as we said, there are other miners that aren't adhering to this. But if, for argument's sake, this narrative is countered, and as you say, it's largely an issue of a misunderstanding, a misperception, if we do manage to get away from this idea that Bitcoins are not environmentally friendly, and that does then open the way for institutional investors to come in, what do you think that does for the price of Bitcoin?
Well, they're already in, and they're already coming in at a much greater rate than people expected. And it's just every week there's a new announcement. The Goldman Sachs now gives it legitimacy as an asset class. And I think that what's important is...
But for those that, Frank, sorry to interrupt, but for those that were frustrated or held back a little bit by this perception that it's not environmentally friendly and that most of the mining is done in China, if that is counted, and those institutions that were reluctant to step in because of that now don't see that as an obstacle, what do you think that could do for the price of Bitcoin?
Look up. That's how high the price is. I mean, that's really what's going to go on. And you're dealing with Metcalfe's law. Metcalfe's law says if you limit the supply and more people have trust and faith in this particular service or asset class, prices grow up exponentially. We take a look at the huge boom for infrastructure spending for the green movement, $1 trillion in Europe, another $1 trillion here. Copper prices making all-time highs. Why? Supply side, it's not there. Where's it going to come from to meet this demand? Prices are growing. Now it's totally different when it comes to crypto, because you have the greatest capital going to leave baby boomers my age going to millennials, and it's a $10 trillion movement over the next 30 years in America, and they're all used to buying things digitally. And I'm really bullish on Ethereum because all the new products, it's like the Internet of Things. If you want a new app, well, guess what? It's going to be based on the protocol of Ethereum. Stable coins, non-fungible coins, the whole concept of tokens, etc. Right. It's all based on Ethereum. That's not going away.
Well, you mentioned Goldman Sachs, and in fact, Goldman Sachs, Frank, came out with a statement, a study on Ethereum, saying that it would likely beat Bitcoin as a store of value. Excerpts from the bank's research paper says that Ethereum has fundamental advantages over Bitcoin, and given the importance of real uses, as you mentioned, in determining store of value, like DeFi, like NFTs, that Ethereum is going to become more widespread, and that it'll build its own first mover advantage in applied crypto technology. So they think that Ethereum is going to trump Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin's provable scarcity doesn't necessarily guarantee its dominance as a store of value asset. What do you make of that?
From their lips to God's ears.
So you think Ethereum will overtake
I think
Bitcoin?
It's magnificent for Hive. We're the only people at this stage mining Ethereum, and we have a massive growth profile for it. So it makes me very, very bullish. But I think what you have to remember, which you don't have, you're going to be attending this conference next week in Miami. There is no gold conference in the world, and I've spoken at all of them, where 10,000 people show up and they paid $600 to get in. It's unbelievable. And before COVID came along, I saw this in New York City. I saw this in Asia. You have 30,000 Ethereum scientists around the world overlooking and nodes all over the world. You don't have that for, say, the gold industry or any other component of technology. So I think, yes, it remains, especially Ethereum, because of a smart contract concept. But Bitcoin's so special because it's going to be like an Andy Warhol piece of art.
So do you see support for Ethereum to surpass Bitcoin in terms of market cap?
Well, that's possible. You know, it's very possible. But what I think is important is that so far, Ethereum is doubled the value in the past year than holding Bitcoin. So our hodling position has done much better.
So what is your Ethereum outlook, Frank? And I know it's hard to give a target, of course, with all of this volatility, but what is your forecast for Ethereum for the short term, 3 months or so, and for the long term?
I know when I get this question, like on gold, I always like to talk about what is the DNA of volatility. So the DNA of volatility of gold on a daily basis is 1%. Ethereum is 6%. Elon Musk's Tesla is another 6%. It's a non-event for them to go up or down 6%. But over 20 trading days and 60 trading days, Ethereum is the most volatile. So it is a non-event for it to go up over any 20 trading days or down 26%. So if it falls 50%, back up the truck. It goes up 50%, turn around, take profits. So that's the best way to take a look at what's taking place. But a year from now, I think that Ethereum is going to double, and I think that Bitcoin easily doubles.
So Ethereum at around 5,000 and Bitcoin at between 80
over
and 100? Over 100,000.
I think it's over 100,000. I think it's Tom Lee. I think it's pretty reasonable as you get more adopters. What's really unique is that you can't buy gold on PayPal. You can't buy my ETFs. You can't buy my stocks, but you can buy Bitcoin, and you can buy it in fractals. And then it's gone up, you can turn around and sell it and go buy a new TV. And that's what the millennials like. It's not going from one bank account, this brokerage account. It's all done seamlessly within a PayPal. So it's really expanded the distribution and the likability of speculation. And a lot of these young kids are saying, well, how do I protect against inflation? Gold's not doing what it's supposed to do, is what they think. But gold has done a phenomenal job, just lower volatility. Bitcoin, Ethereum done a spectacular job, just greater volatility.
Well, seeing as you've mentioned gold, you have called Bitcoin digital gold and Ethereum digital silver. I'm assuming you're still sticking to that analogy.
I am. It's simple because the DNA of silver is always greater than gold, and Ethereum is greater than Bitcoin. And the reason for that is silver has many more industrial uses. When it comes to gold, it's the love trade is 60% of all demand. It's all about love. And it really dominates when you go to Asia and India and the Middle East. And it's highly correlated to rising GDP per capita. The big swings up in gold is the fear trade, negative real interest rates, money supply printing, and then it shoots on the upside. It falls to where all of a sudden China and India start buying again. And silver is 20% industrial. The solar panels alone are just really driving that as one component that's industrial. So silver has other factors like Ethereum has decentralized finance.